All right, here was the Cadillac we showed the other day in the last video, and we had most of it cleaned up. But now we're back on the lift, and we want to show the process of actually taking the rust off. And here you've seen we've loaded up a few of the spots that were a little sticky. That means the rust was a little thicker there, so you have to hit the spots 2 or 3 times. And I think this is probably the third time on this rust here. So these are the little remnant spots, and Mark, we actually dosed these up with naval jelly last night, and Mark is now scraping them off. It's probably about 12 or 14 hours later, and it turns black, the naval jelly, or dark gray, and it looks really horrible, but that'll all wash off really nice and clean as you watch. So Mark is just taking a putty knife and giving it a light scrape there. And the black spots are where there's real sticky rust, and we'll have to dose a few of those spots up again. You'll see that. So he just continues scraping, and it's very easy work, and there's no skill set involved here at all. It's just a job you have to do. And it's not on the whole body. It's only in certain spots where the rust took a better hold. Most of the lighter surface rust on this was very easy to take off. Now, someone pointed out that they brought an old Ford grill in today, a 37 Ford pickup truck grill. And he's watched my videos, and he says, well, can I use naval jelly on this grill? Well, the grill was really horrible. And it didn't have, the Cadillac had what I'd call severe humidity rust syndrome, meaning that it wasn't exposed to the rain or salt from the road or anything. It was in the garage, but the garage door was open a little bit so the humidity could come in. And even if the garage door was closed, the humidity level would still change inside that garage. But it's a totally different story with a car outside. In this 37 Ford truck grill that this guy Steve brought over today to let me look at, he wants to take my class, and he wanted to fix the grill, and the whole bottom was like rusted away. And I says, well, we can reproduce that bottom by making a Bondo representation of the shape, and then we'll make flexible shape patterns. But then I really looked at the grill, and it had been painted over, and it's been outside for 70 years or more, and there was severe rust pitting on it, and someone had some paint on most of it, and you don't know what's underneath that paint. It could have been painted right over the rust, and it has really delicate little grill tines that are very simply bent grill tines. You'd have to make a little hammer for them in order to make them, and it was all steel, probably 19 gauge, 40 thousandths thick. And I'm looking at it, and I said, it's almost crazy to try to derust these. And I said, if actually derusting these grill tines, the best way would probably be to sandblast it. There was no point. No problem about the sand being encapsulated or trapped anywhere and it'd come out later, and you're not going to bend up those grill tines. And the sandblasting would be more effective than maybe Rust 911 or naval jelly, certainly more so. The naval jelly would be really slow on those grill tines because they were severely rusted. And I said, the time you spent replacing or trying to remove all that rust on these grill tines, it would be so much easier just to take and make new ones. And I said, it wouldn't be that hard, I don't think, to do that. And I'd say if I was doing it, I said, I'd make them out of stainless, so now you have a really nice, almost a chrome-like grill instead of having a painted grill, which would be a nice little feature on your truck. So he kind of agreed with that, and he says, well, how do I weld the stainless? Well, the stainless will weld really nicely to the steel. That's not a problem. Or you could make a framework or whatever, and there was a surround that goes all around, and you could have a little framework, and you could bolt the tines in if you wanted. You could do a custom grill opening. But the shell itself, that was severely pitted, and it needed that whole bottom section. So I says, you know what? It makes more sense instead of chasing after all of the potential rust underneath this paint and the rusted out bottom. I says, you take my class and we'll make the whole grill shell totally. So my point is on this is that if you've got a field car that's been subject to 50 years of rust, you might not be able to do a naval jelly cleanup on it like we've done on this caddy. The naval jelly has its limits. It will do really heavy rust, but that's asking a lot for it. So in that case there, you'd be better off dipping it, and it might take a good amount of time with Rust 911 even to dip it. But that said, it's going to be a lot better than sandblasting, because if it's got heavy rust, you're going to have to really dwell on it with a sandblaster, and not only on one side but also on the other side, which is going to be nothing but trouble. So, all right, so Mark is working away here. As you can see, the panels are getting better and better, and now what he's got is a piece of steel wool. It's a coarse piece of steel wool, and we spray on the phosphoric acid out of that we get at Home Depot. Klean Strip, I'm sorry, Klean Strip. Spray that on, and that acts like a reactivator agent, because the naval jelly is essentially a phosphoric acid in a gel form, and this is in a real nice liquid form. And whatever he didn't get with the putty knife, the steel wool will clean up that little residue. Now there's still probably going to be a few spots. You can see some of the little dark spots there. We just wiped it with a paper towel, and those dark spots are where it's really heavier rusting, but it's not really pitted. It's just like a micro rusting process that goes a little bit below the surface, and you have to get in there and draw that all out. And again, if you were sandblasting that, you would have to dwell on those spots a long time to get all of that cleaned up, and that's where the heat buildup comes and where the warping happens, and get into all kinds of trouble. Now you can see with this phosphoric acid on there, I mentioned in one of the videos how cool it is that it's similar to, like, if you're power hammering, you put oil on the panel, and that allows you to see a really nice shiny surface, to see any flaws in your panel work. And this phosphoric acid lays down really nice, and it actually leaves a little protective coating on there so it won't rust, and it works really good to it discolors the metal a little. It gives it that dark gray. So if you want to use a file or a sanding block or something to find any highs and lows, similar to if you're using a Dykem or Magic Marker or whatever, it will show up really nice. So this that Klean Strip concrete and paint cleaner, I think it's called, works really good. You saw those spots that were a little dark. Now, we're going to juice those up with some more naval jelly, and we'll probably have to do the bad spots get smaller and smaller as we go along. This really major bad spot on this hood and the rear of that front fender, those are beyond hope, and I'm going to have to replace the metal there. But that's all cleaned up pretty nice compared from the video the other day. And you can see the sheet metal on this car is just magnificent. I mean, it's just amazing how good condition it is, other than that anomaly on that hood, which was the raccoon piss problem. So that has nothing to do with the condition of the car. It was just a crazy thing that a raccoon got in there. That's all caused the problem. So a little bit more redosing, and the same process, but much smaller now tomorrow, and we'll have this probably about 99% done. And then there's a few spots here and there as we come. We're going to be taking the panels off and address those little spots later as we take each fender off. And that's what we do. We just pour it right out of the little 16-ounce bottle and daub it on with the brush. You want a nice thick heavy coat. That does the best. And if you leave it overnight, it'll turn black It does do its job in about 2 or 3 hours too, if you want to do multiple times in one day. So, but that should cover this. It gives you a good idea of what you're facing if you're doing this type of rust removal, and it works really good, as you can see. But it's not the answer to really heavy outside exposure that's like 70-year rust. It will do that, but it might be really slow and turn you off. Hope you enjoyed the show, and it's Ray from Pro Shaper Workshop, and please subscribe and give us the comments, and thanks for all the support. Remember, the metal is clay.